Good morning, my dear students, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this e-learning program. Friends, I hope you remember that which lesson we are doing. We are doing the lesson that is biodiversity in living organism. The diversity in living organism or the biodiversity. How many basic kingdoms are there? Five. Which are those now? Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and animalia. You have already learnt about the four, and in our today's session we are going to discuss about the fifth basis, fifth kingdom, and how is this five fifth kingdom, that is kingdom Animalia, divided. Try to recall when we were doing the last part of the previous lecture. At that time I spoke the nine phylums of kingdom Animalia. Which are those? They are Porifera, Coelenterata, Plathelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata and Chordata. This is how the entire classification is done of kingdom Animalia. Okay, so I hope you are ready with the content. Kingdom Animalia, here it is. If we talk about the basic characteristics of the kingdom Animalia, then all the basic characteristics are given over here. First of all, they are multicellular organisms. That is, these organisms have many cells, so they'll form tissues. These tissues will form organs, and this is how the organs will form the organism. The very first characteristic of kingdom Animalia is it is a multicellular organism. Next is it is the eukaryotic one. Now what is the meaning of the word eukaryotic? You already know, having a well defined nucleus. As well as the organelles are present. Next is they lack cell wall. That is the outer layer in any cell. This is any cell. This is its outer layer. Now this extra outer layer, that is the cell wall, is not present in kingdom Animalia. Next, the mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. Inside heterotrophic, it can be any of these three. That is saprophytic, parasitic, and holozoic. If we talk about the next characteristics, then it is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. What is coming in heterotrophic mode of nutrition? They are further bifurcated into three parts. That is saprophytic, parasitic, and holozoic. These are the three modes of nutrition in heterotrophic part. Okay, coming to the next characteristics, they are having small vacuoles in their cells. The locomotion is very well developed except its sponge. When we will be doing porifera at the time, we'll be doing about it. And how is the mode of nutrition? It is sexual. So these are few basic important characteristics about kingdom Animalia. How these nine subphylums are divided. I'm taking the names again. More and more amount of time you'll listen to it. It'll be easy for you to remember all the nine phylums. It's this: Porifera, Coelenterata, Plathelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Chordata. So these are the basic things. When we will be learning about the entire kingdom Animalia, it will take a bit time and you have to be ready for it. Before we do anything, just go through this content, note down this content, and then we'll move further on. How is actually the classification being done? Note it down quickly. Note down all the points. So I hope you are now clear with the content that is being taught. Let's move further on the next part. What's the next part? It's how the classification being done. You heard this nine phylums name. That is Porifera, Coelenterata, Plathelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Chordata. This nine parts, nine phylums of kingdom animal, we have divided. Now, how we have divided them? What is the base of classification? If we talk about the basis of classification, then there are five ways by which the entire kingdom's classification is done. Which are those five ways now? The very first one is they can be divided on their system level. How they are divided on what basis? On the basis of the system level. How can be level now? It can be any of this base 3. It can be cellular. It can be tissue based, or it can be on the basis of organ. There are many such organelles in kingdom Animalia which are multicellular, but that doesn't mean that they are forming all the tissues. Only many cells are performing a particular function. They are not forming any tissues for it. Next, tissue. Only tissues are there. There are no, they don't have any specific organ for that. Next, organ. Like we human beings, we are having a particular organ level system because for a particular function we are having a particular organ. Like for the purification of the blood, you have to kidneys. Okay, you are having a well developed digestive system in which all the different organs are doing the different part. They are having their job role. When you are, if you talk about the respiratory system, then that is also having very small part. As you're having two lungs as one part of the as one of the organ in the entire respiratory system. So this is what I'm trying to explain you. I hope you're trying to get it what I'm explaining. Organ system. So this organ system is like this. Uh, for when you are inhaling the air through the trachea, it then goes to the two lungs, and the two lungs are having that divided into bronchi, then bronchioles, and then finally alveoli. You have already studied about it in your lower standards, that is in class 7. And again in class 10 you are having this same thing at a higher level. So that is about the organ level. In the same way you are having particular tissues in kingdom Animalia, and there are many cells that are performing the functions. Each of them is having their own examples, as in how we will explore the 9 phylums. Your curiosity to learn these things will be uh, satisfied. So the very first way by which the classification is done is what? Its system. That is cellular level, the tissue level system, or the organ level system. Moving on, the next part, which is the body symmetry. If we talk about the body symmetry, then the body symmetry is of two types. It is of how many types? Two types. Which are those two types now? Those two types are mentioned over here. Either it is bilateral or it's radial. Now, what is the difference between bilateral symmetry and radial symmetry? First of all, let me recall you, it is a part of your lower standards only. When you want to divide anything and you are dividing it into two equal halves, कोई एक चीज है आप उसे दो equal proportion में cut करना चाहते हैं. Let me give you one very small example. For example, if we are having this remote, if I want to divide it into two equal halves, how can I divide it? Two equal halves. Okay. अगर मुझे इस piece को दो equal part में divide करना है तो how will I divide it? It's a rectangle. In order to divide it into two equal halves, you have any one of the plane, like you can divide it like this, you may divide it like this, you may divide it like this. Okay, so like this also you can divide it in the same way, like this you can divide it. So this is how it's getting divided. This doesn't come in any of these two, that is neither bilateral or radial. Bilateral means you are dividing it into two equal halves using a single way. Okay, there is only one plane to divide it into two equal halves. Now, how is that possible? Yes, it's possible. Just have a look. If I want to divide this two equal halves, how will I divide it? If I divide it from the mid portion, will it be in equal halves? No. At the bottom it is bit wide as compared to the top. I need to divide it compulsory by one way, that is this. Suppose if I want to divide a fish into two equal halves, how will I do it? There is a fish over here. Just a moment. If I want to divide it, there is just one plane in which it can be divided into two equal halves. So if there is a single plane that will divide it into two equal halves, then it is coming under which category? Bilateral symmetry. Board is divided into two equal halves along a single mid plane. Radial symmetry. This is again not what we discussed in case of rectangle. Radial symmetry. Board is divided into equal halves along any planes. Suppose if I want to divide a circle into two equal halves, how can I divide it? I can divide it like this. It may go like this. It may go like this. It may go like this. कहीं से भी डिवाइड करें वो दो इक्वल पार्ट में ही कट होगा. So when it is any plane at that time it is radial, and when it is only one plane at that time it is bilateral. And there are many other in between things also, but that is not coming only in the entire classification. Yes, there are many other ways of dividing any particular organism, but like rectangle जैसे हमने देखा वैसा कि 3 या 4 हो, ऐसे कहीं पे भी कोई भी पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म पूरे किंगडम एनिमलिया में नहीं आता है. या तो वो एक प्लेन से डिवाइड होगा या तो वो किसी भी प्लेन से डिवाइड होगा. ओके, in between things like rectangle don't exist. That is about the symmetry. I hope you are clear with the content of symmetry. What is the very first part that we discussed? The very first thing that we discussed was about the cellular level system, tissue level system, and the organ level system, the three parts in which the system is divided. Second thing we are discussing is about this symmetry. Either it is bilateral or it is radial. So this is about the very first 2 points. Note down the 2 points and then we'll move on. The third point. Be quick. Coming to the third part, that is the germinal layer. In the germinal layer, again, it's further classified into two types. If we talk about germinal layer, then what is actually the germinal layer? Okay, germinal layer means the outer layer. Now, how many outer layers are there? First of all, the very first layer that is present is the skin layer, and that is the outer layer. Now, the very first thing that is the germinal layer is divided into two parts, and that the very first thing is it has two layers. Which are the two layers now? Ectoderm and endoderm. That means it is having only two layers, so it is what? Diploblast. Two layers. Di means two. Two layers it is having. One is the ectoderm and outer derm layer. Endoderm, अंदरनु layer. Germinal layer is divided into two parts. That is diploblast or triploblast. Diploblast means how many will come? Two. Ectoderm or endoderm. In between the ectoderm and endoderm, if one more layer is present, and between the two, that is ectoderm, endoderm, one more layer has been present. This is the outer layer, so it is called ectoderm. This is the inner layer, so it is called as endoderm. In between the two, there is one extra layer present, then it is called as mesoderm. उसको क्या बोलते हैं? Mesoderm. So as far as germinal layer is concerned, there are two types. Either any organism can be diploblastic or triploblastic. Diploblastic means it is having two layers, ectoderm and endoderm. Next, three layers, then is tripoblastic, that is ectoderm, endoderm, and in between them there is a mesoderm. Once again, how have we done the classification? On what basis? First was system, cellular level, tissue level, and the organ level. Next thing which we did was on the basis of symmetry. Now, how it was divided on the basis of symmetry? Either it is bilateral or it is radial. Bilateral means getting divided into two equal halves using just a single plane. But if it's radial, that means getting divided into two equal halves using any of the plane. In between things are not included. Germinal layer. On that basis, it is divided into how many types? Two types, dipoplastic and tripoplastic. If it's dipoplastic, that means it is having two layers, ectoderm, endoderm. If it's tripoplastic, then it is divided into how many types? Three layers it is having, ectoderm, endoderm, and the mesoderm. Please note down this content, then we'll move further on the next way of classification. We'll use a different color over here if it's not visible. It's this circle. Mhm. Okay. This is the extra layer. Do not consider the last. Okay, so now it's clear. This, if it's not visible, then it was drawn. Be quick and draw it. So I hope you're clear with the content. Now, here it is. The dipoblastic, if the three layers are, only two layers are present, ectoderm and the endoderm, then it is dipoblastic. But if this third extra layer, the red color one, you can see that is the mesoderm, if that is present, then it will be tripoblastic. The next one is the body cavity. कैविटी मतलब क्या? आपने काफ़ी सारे एडवर्टीजमेंट्स देखे हैं कि like about the cavity in the teeth and all that. You have seen many kind of advertisements, especially in the teeth. You might have heard this word cavity. But what is the meaning of the word cavity? Cavity actually means empty space or hollow space. If we talk about what is this body cavity and all about it, so for that we need to understand over here. We have learnt about two things, that is dipoblastic and tripoblastic, right? Now, on the basis of the body cavity, entire classification is of three types. It's very easy. You are knowing that in dipoblastic you are having two things, that is either it is dipoblastic or tripoblastic. એવું આપણે ભણ્યું છે. Now in the dipoblastic, if between the ectoderm and endoderm if in between these two there is no xylem, that is no fluid is there. What is the meaning of the word xylem? Fluid. दोनों के बीच में एक भी नहीं है, then it is acoelomate. If between the ectoderm and endoderm fluid is present, over here between the two there is a particular type of fluid which is present. There is some kind of fluid between the ectoderm and endoderm, then it is acoelomate. ओके बहुत ही आसान है. बॉडी कैविटी खाली जगह, दो लेयर्स हैं एक्टोडर्म और एंडोडर्म, उन दोनों के बीच में सिलम दैट इज अ फ्लूइड इज फिल्ड, तो या तो वो एसिलमेट होता है, दैट इज सिलमेट इज एब्सेंट, दोनों के बीच में खाली जगह होती है, either it is pseudocoelomate, that is coelomate doesn't that I'm teaching you. Acoelomate, that means coelomate is present. What is the work of this coelom? First of all, it is, or the fluid, it will protect the body against the external shocks or any kind of germs. And this fluid base पे वो तीन पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है. अगर ये जो सिलोमेट है अगर वो मेसोडर्म प्रोवाइड नहीं करता है then it is pseudocoelomate. Okay, I hope you are clear now. That means there is a xylem, but here it is provided by the mesoderm, the third extra layer. But here it's not provided by it. Yes, it is there. फ्लूइड तो है लेकिन ये फ्लूइड है वो प्रोवाइड मेसोडर्म नहीं करता है, then it is the pseudocoelomate. So on the basis of body cavity, that is coelom, it is bifurcated into three types. Acylamate, pseudocylamate, and E-cylamate. A means it's absent, E means it's present. Pseudo means it doesn't arrive mesoderm. So please note down this content about the body cavity or the xylem. Be quick. So I hope you are clear with the content, the entire content that we have done. We have done today four ways of classification. Fifth way of classification is little bit big. How it is big now? Yes. Uh, if I want to explain you that, we need to understand about. Once we do that, we'll also do along with it the phylum chordata. Okay. But till the meantime, you have to try to memorize the nine phylums. Which are those? Those are Porifera, Coelenterata, Plathelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Chordata. Porifera, Coelenterata, Plathelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Chordata. What we have done today now, we have done about basic things which is over here. The very first part, the basic characteristics, that is, they are multicellular organisms. Eukaryotic, they lack cell wall, they are heterotrophic, they have vacuoles present in them, but they are very small. The mode of reproduction is sexual, and the locomotion is well developed except sponge. What is the basis of classification? Either it can be divided on the basis of the system, that is the cellular level, tissue level, or organ level. Coming to the body symmetry. The body symmetry, it's over here. This is how it's divided as either it is bilateral or it is radial. That is, can be divided into two equal halves using just a single plane, while over here a plane. Next to it was of germinal layer. That is, there are two layers. Then it is dipoblastic, that is endoderm or ectoderm. There are three layers. Then ectoderm, endoderm, and in between them there is a mesoderm. After that, what is important is the xylem. That's over here. Body cavity, xylem. Xylem is filled in the fluid that is in the cavity. If it's present, then it's E-coelomate. If it's absent, then it's A-coelomate. But if it doesn't arrive from the mesoderm, then it's called pseudocoelomate. What will they do now? They'll protect the body against any external shock or germs. Okay, so that's all that I want to do with you today. Thank you so much for listening to me and have a very good day. That's all. Bye bye.